Welcome back to the Hotspot, everybody. We continue to tell you about opportunities and possibilities that your organization yourself can avail of. These are made possible by our friends in the government, and I have somebody who works for the government right now, providing those kind of possibilities to our general community. Someone who I have known literally a very, very long time, since she and I were getting our educations in our formative years over at St. Anthony's, Stephanie Flores. So, Counselor, half a day, and very good to see you this morning.
Yes, great to see you this morning, Jason. And yeah, we won't tell everybody when we were at St. Anthony School, but it was at a time when it was only St. Anthony School, not St. Anthony Catholic School.
Thank
So
you
that's how
very
long
much
ago
for
that
adding it.
was.
Yeah. So mercifully, you cannot Google when we were there because we predated that. But but we actually have you on today. Speaking of the topic of education, because I had my buddy Holly Rustick on, Steph, earlier this week, who was talking about the grant application process and going through and knowing how to secure that. And I'm talking to you today because we're talking about programs that the government is making available for youth empowerment. So it's not just for adults and big government agencies and and huge companies and everything. This can go directly towards our younger Guamanians too, correct?
But yeah, that's correct. So what we did is, because of the pandemic, and of course, we're still having so many different effects from the pandemic. But one of the good things that came out of the pandemic was we received an unprecedented amount of education stabilization funds. And everybody who knows about how the government works, the governor's office doesn't control the education system, right? We provide some money for the budget and some guidance, but it's run by the Education Board and GDOE, and they got a huge chunk of money too. But when the governor received her chunk of money for education funds, she decided what she wanted to do was not just give money to government agencies who assist with education, but let's open up a grant program and hear what the community thinks we need to support our kids, and to fill those gaps and address the needs that occur because of the pandemic, all the learning loss that occurred. Kids were indoors and isolated for almost 2 years. And that just caused a tremendous amount of difficult challenges for kids. And so we issued out a call for interested organizations, both big and small, to tell us what your proposal is, and we'll see how we can fund it. And we are so happy that we received over 100 applications.
Wow.
Yeah, we had over 100 applications. Of course, we were limited in the funds. We had about $39 million that we had to work with. And of course, we prioritized some things like upgrading the library system, so that we could have Wi-Fi in the libraries, upgrade those facilities. We did some work with Department of Youth Affairs and upgrading some of their facility as well. We're buying some much needed school buses. But a majority of the funds, I'd say about 85% of the funds, are going to things like learning centers for the communities, with the mayors doing some improvements in their facilities so that kids can have a safe place to go after school in their own community, with people that they know and trust, the mayor's offices. But we had a tremendous response from community groups, everything from sports and nutrition for kids to
that was going to be mine. I was gonna say, get the kids outside. It's one thing to tell like a bunch of kids, hey, like when we were young, right? Hey, Jason and Stephanie, go outside and play, go run around and everything. But if you actually go out with intent and exercising the right way, having proper nutrition, and having the knowledge that if you do these things, you will live a more fulfilled life, there's a big difference there.
Right. And one of the things that one of the major components that was required is, tell us how you're going to address the new problems that we have because of COVID, right? How do you handle social distancing? How do you handle getting the kids to socialize again in a safe way, right? Because when we just first came out of the pandemic and we're getting kids back into school, they were isolated and they were only around their own families. So getting back together again safely so that we mitigate the spread of COVID, which is here to stay. We already know that. It was about putting those protocols in place, and everybody's been fantastic about it. If you don't mind, I'd like to talk about some of our bigger
for sure, absolutely, please.
Bigger things. One of the things that we're most proud of is we gave a good chunk of money to Hunter Speaks, and that is
Yes.
an
The
organization.
autism organization.
We know what they do, right? Autism Community, but what their program is something that they've been wanting to do for a long time. There was just never any funding to get it off the ground, which is a parent training program. They teach parents how to best deal with their child with that particular need, and how to do that long term. Because of course, what you teach the parents at home, that's going to spill over into how they handle things at school. I mean, it's just a fantastic program that they have, and you really should talk with Dr. Vince Duenas about that program.
Absolutely, I would be
Yeah,
delighted to.
but
That's
it's great.
fantastic.
And then we also are working with the autism community together, doing things like just making sure that the kids could have fun, safe events. Like they had a water park day where it was a family day. And these are all and what we understood about this whole pandemic and everything that occurs from it is there isn't money to pay for these things, right? Parents don't have the extra money to do all of these things that we really want to do with our kids, right? And so all of these events that you see sponsored, the biggest thing that we told people was you cannot charge for any of these events. So any kind of
So the
activity
one
or thing
standing
that
rule is got to be free.
it's got to be free.
I like that.
You can't do, and one of the big programs we had that was really successful was the Basketball is Art. We did that with Clutch Guam. That was a
Yep.
hugely successful event. They
So with Dom Sablon and his
yeah,
group over there
Tom
doing
Sablon
fantastic work.
and that team there, they're an amazing community partner, and they're going to do so much more. You can already tell they're going to do so much more. But what they did is we identified 10 basketball courts, outdoor courts, right? They did painting of murals, they changed backboards, and then they had a tournament at every court that they rehabbed. Mm-hmm. And so, you have all these 3-on-3 tournaments for high school kids. And the kids got to go to every different village where we had a court and just have a good time.
And I got to tell you, Steph, if I can add to that, because I had Coach Dom on a couple of weeks ago, and I was asking him, like how the basketball courts were, specifically, the sense of ownership that these young athletes and these young Guamanians have now embraced for that, because it's like, okay, well, like so many things, a wonderful facility gets put together, and then you see, somebody goes there and then they vandalize it, or like there's spit like on the ground, or like real unsightly like stuff. These courts have really been in pristine condition because it's the athletes who said, this has been a gift to us, and now the onus is on us to take care of it. It's our responsibility, and they really take a sense of ownership about that, and that's a wonderful life lesson that they can carry on with them.
Yes, I mean, and that's really what's great about Dom's group is they went and they got community partners on top of that, right? So you had corporate sponsors that helped with other things, and it was a great family event at each one of those tournaments that we had. But it also showed us some of the realities of living on Guam. We had to postpone a couple of tournaments because it rains, right? And which leads us to the other issue of, okay, we need some gym facilities in the island. So one of the great things about this program is it identified, I mean, we already knew that we needed to do more in terms of gyms for the villages, but when you have these events, you get to collect that data. And everybody knows one of the big things about grants is you got to support it with documentation and information, right? Mm-hmm. The way you get your grant approved is you prove that there's a need, right? And one of the good things about our programs is we took a chance on a lot of groups that didn't necessarily have a great track record or any track record for that matter, and gave them an opportunity, worked with them, and then they were able to show, yes, these things are really what's needed, and this is the outcome. Now they have that information, they can apply for more grants. They can go out and take that information and sustain themselves and get other grants for different things.
So it is a virtuous cycle.
Already, yeah. They're able to prove that they can do these things, which is a huge part of grants, right? Mm-hmm. You got to, I'm sure Holly talked about it, but you got to show that, number one, you can perform, and number two, that the impact or the outcome that you said you were going to do, you were able to achieve, and then what were some of the lessons learned. So that's a huge part of the grant process,
Yeah,
right?
and Steph, this is kind of a theme that was echoed, a long time, like during the various public assistance programs that the administration put forth during the pandemic, like PUA and stuff. The restaurant revitalization like program, either at the federal level or the
Yep.
local government level, was they said, we want everybody to understand this is not a handout, it's a hand up. We're giving you like a little bit of a nudge so that you would then take this knowledge as well as the funding, and then go forward and continue to thrive and help others, and that's what we do.
Yeah, that's that is we'll go back to our St. Anthony days, right? And we were taught at St. Anthony, and I'm sure it's not just endemic to St. Anthony, but you take care of each other, and we all do better because we're taking care of each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you're on a small island and resources are limited, we help where we can help, and we believe in the best in people, and there is no shame in asking for assistance when you need it, and we should not make people feel bad about asking, right? We
Sure.
really
If
that's
you're in
one of
need,
the
you
things
ask
is
me.
that
When I'm in need, we ask. And I mean, I believe that is the textbook definition of inafamali.
correct. I mean, you are absolutely correct. One of our bigger ones that we've got going is that's happening for the entire month of October. It's great. We've got this basketball program for 10 and under, and so we've got kids as young as 4-year-olds playing basketball. And the for a lot of families throughout the island, and it's been a problem for many years, is you got to pay for uniforms, you got to pay for entrance fees, you got to pay for and it's hard to get coaches to volunteer. So when Dom and came to us with the idea of the high school program, we said, "Hey, there we know that there's middle school basketball, there's high school basketball, but what about the little kids? Little kids need something to do too, right? And not everybody wants to play soccer, not everybody wants to play t-ball, right? Can you think about submitting something for little kids?" And they came up with a great proposal. We've got about 400 kids participating right now, and everything is absolutely free to these kids, and the coaches are paid for, all the equipment is paid for, the professional staff there, the refs and the timekeepers, everything is taken care of, so nobody has to worry about somebody's not going to show up because they're really just volunteering and it's their free time, right? But you see the dedication of the staff there, but more importantly, you see that the kids are having a great time and
And
they're
that's another thing
learning.
that we're taught as Guamanians from a young age is if you're given a job to do, whether it's a volunteer or like you're on staff, you do the job right and to completion.
Yes, correct. I mean, and they've been awesome. They've just been so great. That so the little kids tournament is through Clutch and Elite, Guam Elite. So that's been great. You see all these 4-year-olds running around, and they line them up at the beginning of the game, and they say,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, which is your basket?" And they make them point to so that they know exactly which basket they're going to shoot into. But and we really want to thank the parents, for coming out and taking
Yes.
advantage of all of these different programs. We've had with Guahan Sustainable Culture, the Little Sprouts Academy. They've been another great partner where they're teaching kids how to plant food and just take care of a garden,
Mm-hmm.
and how important it is to have a sustainable life. So we've got things for kids who want to do planting. We've got things for
And that's
kids
what
who
our
want
friends
to be
over at
in
the
sports.
Green Guam Initiative too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the
along the same
Crisostomo
lines
family. Yep.
yeah. But we also knew that we needed to do things like increase the online resources, right?
Oh
Things
yeah.
that are available for kids online so that they can learn. And one of our biggest successes has been the PBS University, which is produced by our Guam PBS KGTF. They've got an awesome team there.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know who's over there. I mean, Ina Carrillo's built a terrific team.
We've
We've
worked with them
got
many times, and we're big fans of theirs. They do
Don and
fantastic
Kelvin.
work.
Those guys are professionals. And then the talent is all GDOE teachers,
Yeah,
right?
so can you kind of get us up to speed on that stuff? Because I remember when the pandemic first started, the administration actually tapped into, the infrastructure that you have through PBS, and a lot of GDOE teachers were either volunteering or they were making their lesson plans available in the video format that would then run on PBS. So, taking upon that, that
Yeah.
foundation and that model, I'm sure it's only expanded outward, right? Where are we right now with that?
Oh, so we're working on the second set of that right now. PBS is in production. We've got some high school class, so it's going to be everything from preschool all the way up through the high school level. I mean, and it's great. You could do a whole segment just on PBS University.
I would
And
love to.
my understanding is they're being considered for national recognition for that program.
As they should. I know. Give me a call. Okay, like hopefully
Yeah,
if she heard
I
me
mean
all the way over there,
it's
Mila.
really, yeah, it's really an amazing thing, and just truly showcases the talent that we have here.
Sure.
Our local talent is just amazing. And the teachers are great. They've got so much energy. They don't get enough credit for what they do. Really, they don't. And
Absolutely. Well,
PBS
yesterday was
University
actually
was,
World Teacher Day, so we want to send an extended shout out to all of the teachers in, GDOE, DODEA, homeschool teachers, parents that are going that route in that format with their kids and everything. You guys are really, really doing the Lord's work. So congratulations to all of you for World Teacher Day. Now, may I
right.
ask?
I mean, and it's just amazing. And
Oh, please,
sure,
please go.
one of the good things that came out was all the creativity in the proposals. So Santa Barbara School sent in a proposal because they wanted to do kids news.
Wow.
So they are
We like
actually, I
that. We
believe
like
they're
that here
up
at
and
KWIM.
running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're up and running. So if you could contact the wonderful folks at Santa Barbara, they've got their kid reporters.
Making a
We
note of it
provided
right
the
now.
equipment for them.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
We provided the equipment for them and everything that they needed so that they could do kids news. It's going to be
That is fantastic.
I believe they're going to, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
great
waited
because they
25 years to
are.
start this kind of work. I wish I had started when I was, like a wee little guy and everything like that, because I mean the opportunities are tremendous.
And they learn everything that we need them to know in a different way, right?
Mhm.
So we want everybody to be good readers. We want everybody to be informed. So they've got to do the research on their stories. They've got to practice public speaking. They've got to practice being truthful about what they're reporting.
It's proper
All
journalism,
of
and we
those,
love that. Yeah.
yeah, proper journalism, and they're learning it, you know, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth
Mhm.
grade. It's just great. I mean,
Okay.
so remember we had the school newspaper before,
Yep.
and we thought that was high tech. That's how old we are. But this is just the next evolution of that, and it's great that they're leveraging technology, and it's great that they
I'll get
want to
him on the
do
show.
these
That's a
things.
promise. Okay, so before I let you go, because I know you've got a meeting and I don't want to take too much of your time, but one other aspect of our culture, which is such a wonderful thing to be proud of, is we also not only impart wisdom and experience to the youngsters, but there's also that aspect of mentoring, and people that were maybe a recipient of such goodwill, they come back and then they want to also pass on the lessons and do that. So were any of the grant proposals, did any of them have to do with like mentorship opportunities or projects?
Yeah, yes, definitely. So we've got one of the proposals from Manyetlu, who, before they were big brothers, big sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And so their proposal has to do with a lot of that kind of stuff with mentoring and making sure people are doing well. But also we've got JA, Junior Achievement,
Yep.
which has been a successful program for years. So we gave them a little bit of, they asked for a little bit of money. We gave them what they asked for. Um, and then, the Manhoban Swim Club, that they've been great. Amphibious was another successful one, Amphibious Club, where they taught kids who are, life saving, like first aid and CPR and
Very nice.
lifeguarding type things. So water safety. And so, the things you got to know when you're on an island, right?
Gosh,
Water
Steph, you
safety.
are basically just mentioning like a Mount Rushmore of like Guam organizations here that are doing such wonderful things for the community, and and with the
Yeah.
help of this grants and everything, they're going to be able to continue and expand upon that good work.
Right. And one of the other things that we were really proud about was we saw certain gaps. And during the pandemic, people dropped out of school, right? They
Mhm.
just, for whatever reason, they lost their way. So we gave training opportunities and the ability to get your high school diploma for free. We gave Asmunjal Community School a governor's grant, so that people could get their high school diploma. And that's been a tremendous success. So you've had people who for years never went back to school, all of a sudden now can get that diploma, and they're showing their kids that it's never too late. You can do it. You can get your diploma.
Excellent.
Then we've had because we know that college isn't for everybody, so we got money over to the Trades Academy and provided scholarships for trades training,
For
for
vocational
certification.
training. Excellent.
Yep. And then we did one with the Marianas Training Institute for community health workers. Over 100 people got certified as a community health worker. We're going to have a graduation for them coming up. They just finished their program. 100 community health workers going to be infused into the economy, based on what we know from COVID and the chances that we need. So we're very flexible in this money. We're able to go from preschool kids all the way up to college. We were able to pay for technology fees for everybody who was going to UOG and GCC, because everybody had to be online. Governor, Lieutenant Governor decided, we're going to pay for your online fees. We'll pay for everything that you need to do to go to school.
Thank you.
That was great. And then that was because there should be no barrier to education if we could help it at all, right?
I absolutely agree.
And that's, then we've got, other great groups like Duk Duk Goose, which is more commonly known as Nihi Kids.
Yep.
So you'll see another series of episodes of Nihi coming up, sponsored or paid for by this governor's grant.
Well, tell you what, Stephanie, literally, there are too many to mention in this, in this segment here because of time limitations and everything. But is there a list, or is there a published, like roster of the projects and, some of the things that people can check out on the web, or is there somewhere they can go and do some reading just to be as impressed as I am?
We actually are going to have we are actually going to have an expo this weekend, this Saturday at GPO, Governor's Youth Empowerment and Educational Assistance Expo. So we're going to showcase a good group, a cross-section of our grantees will be there. About 20 of them will be there this Saturday at GPO from 11 to 1. So come out and see them, talk to them, see how you can get involved with their organizations and the good work that they've done, and how you can work together with them if you want to, either your kids want to participate or you want to help in their mission, because some of these people, they really need some good volunteers, people with the heart for what they do. And it's just, I'm really happy, and I know the governor and lieutenant governor are really happy with a lot of the outcomes that we've seen. Kids are back. We're trying to, our people are resilient, but we need to make sure that they have the ability to be resilient by giving them things to do and training people and getting them the information they need for either mental health supports or physical education or fun stuff like kids news, basketball, rugby too. We've got a rugby program too. So there's all kinds of things, swimming. But also we did not forget about our cultural community. So we've got the Pacific Bilingual Bicultural, and they do workshops at the different mayor's offices. It's a one-day workshop. It's an introduction for kids to see, do they want to be a cultural practitioner or cultural dancer? It's a little bit of a taste so that they can then decide, okay, I'm going to go and commit to a program. And that's been a very, very successful program too. That's Dr. Rosa Palomo and that group, Joy Frank is.
Always appreciate the good work that Auntie Rosa
very,
does.
very credible group of people. They've been doing this for years, and they're passing on their knowledge and information. And the Chamorro teachers are, primarily in that group, so they do an amazing job with those kids. On what they do on one Saturday is truly amazing.
Absolutely.
And they'll be down there at GPO on Saturday as well.
Well, that's going to be what they're doing on this Saturday. So Stephanie, I got to let you go, but man, thank you for everything that you've been able to do. Some people would say this is part of the recovery, but you're actually taking that and you're hitting the turbo button on that. So it's recovery for some, opportunities for others, and continual improvement for many, many more. So Stephanie Flores down with the administration, thank you so much for your time and for the information about passing along this wonderful experience.
Thank you too, Jason.
All right, take care.